Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this edition of Leak Project. I am your host, Rex Bear, and tonight's guest is regular and fan favorite, Bob Evans. We've looked at many different pictures of the infamous Planet X, and there's been a lot of evidence from around the globe, amateur astronomers, people that don't have anything to do with astronomy that send photographs from their phone, their video camera, their SLR photographs, whatever, and we're getting all sorts of cool stuff. So one of the things I like about Bob when he comes on the show is he gives us pictures from all over the world. I mean, there's people that follow him on Facebook and also his website, www.starshipsaroundthesun.com, that send him photographs that are highly controversial to many. And folks, I know you've heard us talk before about the trolls and shills that come out on the show, but we're not going to get into that much anymore. I think that that's already been discussed enough. Now we're just going to get into the most recent information and data that points to the possibility of Planet X here. And Bob, thanks a lot for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, Rex. Been kind of tired following this thing for the last every day, because I've been getting photographs all around the planet, like you just said, from Slovakia, from Russia, from here in the United States, over Germany, and I'm also seeing this other stuff where everyone's starting to worry about Planet 9. There's this one guy on the internet, can't remember his name right now, I'm quite sure you can mention his name for me if you could, please. He has a nice show. He's also on Facebook. He's worrying about Nibiru somehow causing the end of the world. Let's make this very clear. Nibiru orbits around the brown dwarf star we call Nemesis. It orbits between Jupiter and Mars. It does not come any closer towards the Earth, and I'm glad it doesn't. Unfortunately, it has up to about 13 planets or moons that have a very large orbit out from the planet Nibiru. Nibiru is about the size, if not larger, than Jupiter. And its orbits were imaged by NASA back in 2008 when they imaged the planet Nibiru itself. And they put arrows going to each one of its orbits. I picked out about 13. So there's about 13 things, either planets or moons, at various lengths and degrees around the planet. We have seen 4 of these things in our skies since April 10th of 2015. A blue one, a white one, which had heavy craters all over it. It had nothing that even looked like our moon. There's a silverish looking one, and then there's a red one. I would tell Alex Jones to not worry about Nibiru itself. I would tell him to worry about the red one. The red one goes down through human history known as the Wormwood from the Holy Bible, Wormwood. It also went down as the red Kachina to the Hopi people here in the United States, and was also called the Destroyer by the Egyptians during the Exodus of the Hebrews at 1613 to 1558 BC. Those are the 3 names which are most popular, and that's the only ones I'm mentioning right now. So if Alex Jones wants to keep worrying about Nibiru, it's up to him. I would worry about this red one, which is being seen on the screen right now.
Now, Bob,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sure. This picture that we're looking at right now,
Yes.
This was sent to you recently by just a local astronomer, correct?
A local friend, he took this photograph using his telescope of this big red thing near our sun in the skies. This red thing, this reddish planet or moon, that's Wormwood. No doubt about it. The Egyptians called it the Destroyer. Holy Bible was done just about after the Exodus, so that's the name they put down for Wormwood. A huge red mass in the sky. This thing must have a very strong gravitational electromagnetic pull, because once it comes close towards the Earth, it seems to slow the Earth's rotation down. This has been mentioned in several books, Ancient Tales, Zechariah Sitchin with the Lost Book of Enki, the recorded accounts by Ipawer, an Egyptian scribe, which detailed the account of the Exodus. So there's two accounts of the Exodus, one from the Egyptians, one from the Holy Bible.
Now,
this thing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was going to say also, you were talking about the red Kachina. There's the blue Kachina as well, and we had Steve Olson on the show with us, the Leak Project, a couple weeks ago. He got some footage of what looked like a greenish blue planet that was close to the sun, and I said, hey, could this possibly be the blue Kachina? And then remember also the footage that I sent you last night that you finally got this morning from your long upload that we talked about, and that's from a specific Skycam that the gentleman that sent me this, I'm just going to call him KW. I'd like to say thank you, KW, for sending that to me. But this Skycam footage shows looks like a red planet, and then there's a couple blue planets and a couple green planets, and the way that it's lined up, you can tell it's not the typical Venus, Saturn, Jupiter.
Exactly.
So do you think that all these different things we're seeing then, it sounds to me like if we are in this binary system, it's starting to come back around and it's bringing back everything with it?
It's a good chance on that, a good possibility, because like I said, we first saw the blue one on April 29th, I think back in Illinois. It was in the clear skies over Illinois. And my friend Sharon, she clearly caught it in the skies above her house. That same thing was seen on a black and white web camera down in Antarctica. It was at a station called the Neumayer Station 3. And they had been watching something for years, and it finally came into perfect view, nice and clear, and it was the exact same thing. It was just in black and white. That bluish-looking planet has been seen, or moon, has been seen in our skies recently, and that's some of the images I sent to you recently we're going to be seeing tonight. We've seen 4. Now, one of them might have been accidentally misinterpreted as the blue one, because there is a bluish-looking thing or greenish-looking thing in our skies too. It's been hard to detect whether it's the same object as the blue one, because sometimes it kind of varies back and forth between looking greenish or bluish. So you might have a good point here. Maybe we might be seeing 5. Now, the Hopis, in their ancient prophecies, they said that before the end of the 4th Hopi world, a blue Kachina would appear in their skies, and it would hold the 2 star brothers. And the star brothers would come down and would dance in an uninitiated plaza, meaning not a Hopi plaza for the Hopi people only, but for a plaza that would allow everyone. And they would dance in the plaza and they would unmask themselves. That clearly says first contact, because they come down, they have some type of disguise, so no one knows what they look like, and then they unmask themselves so everyone can see them. Now, the other prophecy says before the end of the fourth Hopi world is that the red Kachina will appear in their skies. And if the Star Brothers have determined that humanity has not been following the right road, following all the rules that were laid down before them, the red Kachina will cleanse the world, the earth. Now, you can take that term cleanse any way you which want to.
It makes me think of the fact that if this really is taking place right now, and if these pictures we're looking at aren't lens flare, are not photoshopped, are not swamp gas, are not, and I'm being facetious here for a second with you, Bob, but, so like that picture I just sent you, and I'd like you to pull this up if you could so our audience could look at it. That's what I was referring to a moment ago. That's a screenshot of that sky cam. But so you're looking at right now, if we
Let me see if I can find that for you.
Sure. So I just sent it to you. It's right there. I'm thinking of if there really is some truth to that prophecy that you're talking about, if we the people have a choice right now to make, and if we can choose wisely, like the Indiana Jones movie. Remember that? The Last Crusade?
Exactly.
Where he picks let's choose wisely. So let's choose wisely. Let's make the right decisions so we don't get destroyed or cleansed by the red Kachina, and let's keep things going on.
Well, you have to assume, and assume means various things, that the U.S. government and every government around the planet knew something was coming and started spending immense amounts of money for the deep underground military bases, which are all around the United States, all around the planet, the emergency seed vaults, which hold every seed for every tree and plant that we live off because we eat them or whatever. And they knew this was coming. So this is the reason why, because they knew this was coming.
Well, I mean, there
Pope
could
John Paul II.
There could
don't
be
believe me. Don't believe any other person you listen to. John Paul II, one of the best popes we've ever had. He warned in 1980 very clearly that they wouldn't talk about this, the third secret of Fatima. The third secret of Fatima. Because they didn't want the communists to cause many coups or take land around the planet. But what if it was in writing that the world's oceans would cover every continent, killing millions within minutes? Why talk about it? See, every person down the line from Pope John Paul II has warned about this thing coming. NASA started leaking the information about this in 2007, 2008. The NASA scientists were hoping that it would fall into the right hands and they would be able to show the people, but they were always being told this was garbage, garbage, garbage. Then they leaked more in 2009 that this thing was coming. We wouldn't see it on December 21st, 2012. They knew it was 20 astronomical units away from orbiting through our solar system. They had already projected that in 2009. We wouldn't see it until now.
Well, and let me jump in real quick too, Bob, because it reminds me of that cry wolf scenario where if you keep crying wolf, eventually no one's going to come after it. I mean, there's
exactly.
Like, oh yeah, he's playing. So that's probably why they orchestrated this specific time frame where they created this big freak out scenario back in 2003, then it was 2008, 2010, yes. 2012. So now people on the internet, well, I thought it was going to be last year. I thought it was going to be the year before that. I thought it was going to be 2 years ago. I'm tired of this Nibiru bullcrap. So, and that's why they probably did that. So let's look at this right now, this screenshot that I sent you that was sent to me by KW. This person has actually got a career where they look at x-rays for a living. I mean, so they're very smart.
And here's...
Well, hold on a second.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. And I just wanted to say that this person has been following these sky cams now for several months at work without even looking for anything in specific, just killing time, bored, you know, waiting for the next procedure. And this person will spend countless hours looking at these different sky cams. And over the past few months, KW has noticed what you're putting the cursor by, these different, looks like planetary bodies. There's a couple green ones, a couple blue ones, and then there's the infamous red one right there in the middle. And if you overlay this with a star map of the planets of our solar system now, there's no comparison there. You could not overlay them anywhere close. So do you think that this right here is spot on? Do you think this is the red Kachina and possibly the other planets around it that you're pointing out there?
It sure looks like it. I'm sorry to say, it sure looks like it. A lot of other observatories have been showing things, because almost every observatory around the planet has webcams which are watching up, looking straight up, just like this, where it has east, west, north, south. And they've been showing this big red thing going over in the night sky or the early morning.
Is there a way to zoom in on that a little bit, that screen?
Let's see.
If not, it's not a big deal.
Let's see if I can. Right there. Okay. Oop. Had to back off a little bit. But yeah, it's right there. There's the red one. It kind of goofed up when I pushed
maybe
it too
zoom
far.
out just a little bit more there.
No. Oh, there
no,
it goes.
There we go.
Back up. Let me go forward again. Nope, back up. Okay, there it is right there. So yeah, you know, too many people have been seeing this, and we're just starting to see them now in our skies with all the photographs I sent you. And I'm just thinking, let me click out of this so I'm not getting...
Yeah, take us to the next photograph that you got that was pretty recent.
This one here, this was from 318. And here's this big red thing. This was over Germany.
But could that couldn't have been seen by the naked eye, right? I mean, otherwise you would have had a million phone calls.
Yes, these were being seen by the naked eye. This was on a webcam. So anyone that went to the webcams was seeing this very clearly in their night sky. And a few of my friends, let me get out of that blue thing. There it goes. A few of my friends, they actually enlarged it up. You know, and here's that huge thing being covered by clouds or something. 319 by Sharon.
Thanks,
she's
Sharon.
My friend, yeah, she's my friend back there in Illinois. And she enlarged it right there. So the big red one's showing itself more and more and more.
You know, it looks kind of transparent, though, which is odd in some spots.
I know that, and Sharon has had a lot of people saying, this is fake, isn't it? But then she's had a lot of people research into her photograph and find anything. This is being seen down in Australia. There's our sun. There's this other thing right there. During the day, this thing looks orange or yellowish. Because I've seen many of these photographs, one after the other, and it turns red as it gets closer to nighttime. And there's another small picture, but enlargement. That's on 319. There it is again. There it is again. And that's looking up through an observatory's web camera. There's our sun. There's the red thing right there. So that's not coming from someone's camera. It's coming from an observatory. There it goes. East, north, south, west. That's being taken by an observatory down in Australia. Here's the big white one that we're starting to see more and more now. Wow. This is not our moon. It's very heavily cratered and it's much closer. This is also being caught by an observatory. West, east. That's one of the other things.
Thing's huge.
It is. That's how close these things are getting towards the Earth. Here's one up here, up in Italy. There's our sun. There's that one right there.
You know, Bob, while you're showing that, if there's some people out there that are listening to this that have knowledge in, like, let's say astronomy.
Astronomy, yes.
Okay, well, let me finish here, because they have chemtrails at certain times of the day that you'll see this, haze in certain areas of the world. And if there's people out there that can pick up, okay, well, at this time of the day, they're going to block out this giant section. So then because that's where you're going to be able to see these planetary bodies. So my question is, if there's somebody out there listening, and I'm sure there is, if you could send data to us and maybe put a connection together, okay, yeah, it's very odd that in Iowa at 11 a.m. from Iowa to Kansas City, from this time of the day, they spray and cause clouds to cover the sky so people can't see, yet the official version of why chemtrails are typically taking place, not only to seed the clouds sometimes and cause rain, but is to protect the people from global warming.
Right. And I don't know exactly why they've been doing the chemtrails. I sent you a copy of a lab report a while back that went from 2006, 2007. Chemtrail samples were taken from Italy and from Texas. And the lab said what they found was all man-made materials. And they called it Morgellons disease. And they were spraying this in our skies then. 2006, 2007.
You remember the plastic snow last year?
Yes. I've been following a lot of this stuff being reported all around the planet. Over in India, my friend has been telling me that they've been spreading black chemtrails at night. And some people here in the United States have been also mentioning the same things now. Say this red thing is wormwood. Say it is the red kachina. Say it is what the ancient Egyptians called the destroyer. My contact, which is a Palladian, she tells me it is not going to be as bad as the Noah's flood. Ziusudra's flood. Ziusudra was another name that Noah went by. Ziusudra was a half-breed. He was another son of the Anunnaki, Enki. That's why Enki went down to Ziusudra to warn him he didn't want his other son to be killed. Ziusudra is found all through ancient testimonies, recounts. He became king after the flood. Say this thing is going to cause a partial earth crustal displacement. That's the proper term I have to use, because we also might have a magnetic pole shift as described in the movie 2012. If there is a partial Earth crustal displacement, the oceans will lap back and forth all across the planet until they settle back down. They will wipe out almost everything around every coastline around the planet, just as you saw in the movie 2012, with that huge wave climbing all the way up India, taking everyone with it. Do I want this to happen? No. My Palladian contact says it will not be as bad as Noah's flood, so not to worry about it. But things will happen. She was very clear on that. She tells me that by June of this year, 2016, all of these things will be very clear in our skies. Now, you can just imagine what will happen then. We've never seen these things in our skies before. You probably haven't seen them for over 3,000 years. I don't want everyone to panic. Panic kills more than any other thing. If they're ready for it, if they're prepared for it, they can jump on it. They have a better chance, they have a fighting chance of surviving. That's why the world's governments, probably the government of Nibiru itself, does not want people to panic, because they want the people to survive. They want them not to go back to zero, to caveman or worse. They want the advanced humans to step up to the next rung on the ladder. They want the advanced humans to survive this time fully intact. That's
minus 6.9 billion people.
Well, just like
the
Pope
Georgia
John Paul
Guidestones.
II said, just like Pope John Paul II said, what if the oceans were to cover every continent, killing millions within minutes? They can't save everyone. Just like the parts of the movie 2012 said.
You have that map, right?
I don't have it with me right now. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It was one of the trailers, really quick, where you see the monk running up on top of the hills. He's going back up to his monastery, and he's banging the gong on that huge, massive bell he had up on top. And here goes oceans coming over the mountains. You see, the people that made the movie 2012, they took that from ancient Chinese history. Emperor Yao, 2,900 plus BC, where this thing showed up in the skies in the constellation of Yin, and it caused the oceans to top the high mountains of China. The emperor had to send 4 teams out looking for where north, south, east, and west was. That's a pole shift, earth crustal displacement. Then there was Noah's flood. Now, a lot of my friends want to disagree with me because the Holy Bible says it was caused by this for that. Ancient texts say different. The Sumerian civilization was around 4,000 years before the Bible was even written. And the Bible worked on a lot of the ancient texts, which were brought up by the emperor, by the pharaoh during the time of Exodus, because he wanted to know why and how the God of the slaves was more powerful than all of Egypt's magic. That's why we have all these ancient texts. They were put into the labyrinth, a 3-level fixture, a huge building that they built over in Egypt, 2 levels underground, one level above. And supposedly they seem to have found it recently. Solon, the ancient ancestor of Plato, went to ancient Egypt and spoke to ancient Egyptian priests way back when. That's when he learned about Atlantis. And he also learned about that the sun was originally in the west instead of the east. And not hardly anyone paid attention to that part. And then during the Exodus, Ipuwer describes very clearly how this had happened before, and that the sun had changed places again at least twice before, and that the stars all went to different places in the sky. The sun rose and the moon set in different positions, and that the growing seasons went completely out the window. That's earth crustal displacement, my friends. I'm sorry. Noah's flood has been dated by almost every ancient type history person as dating somewhere around 12,900 plus minus. Too many things happened in North America during that time. All the massive cave bears, the saber-toothed tigers, the camels. Camels originally started here in North America. The horses an earlier horse, they were all white. Clovis man, the earliest man they had back then, was wiped off the face of North America for almost 3,000 years until he was found again. They called him Fresno man. And they found all kinds of these neat little things in the ground that looked like they were little tiny metal pieces, and they were able to take them out of the earth. And they're actually parts of asteroids that had exploded over the earth. They looked in the ice core readings, and boom, there they were again. Something has happened every single time, whether we talk about religion or we talk about history. Many times history and religion has been mixed together, making religion more palatable for those who believe. It's unfortunate, but yes, it has happened. That's how I know about all this stuff, digging back through the ancient records. China, Mosai of China, 1600 BC. Same time almost as the Exodus, 1613. That was clearly dated by an olive tree that they found at the base of all the ash deposits on the ancient Greek island of Thera, now called Santorini. They were able to carbon date it to 1613 BC. So that's the time of the Exodus right then and there. Because Ippawar, the Egyptian scribe, mentioned ash falling all over Egypt during the Exodus. That was the only volcano erupting at that time. Now it's our turn. We have a huge amount of volcanoes erupting around the planet. We have higher than normal, probably highest in human history, of volcanic activity all around the planet. We're seeing more and more 4s, 5s, 6, and 7 earthquakes, magnitude earthquakes. We've seen 4 of these things in our skies, like you're seeing tonight, today, and on this video right now. All these things seen around the planet, up in our skies. Here's another one right there, the red one, the red Kachina, Wormwood, the destroyer. That's on March 19th. There it is again. There's that thing again on the 20th.
Yeah, this is the one that's got me. If we could go back there for a second, because sure. The red ones that I'm looking at, I'm not convinced on those, and they could be. I mean, they definitely could be. But this one, I mean, you can see looks like craters and a lot more detail, and
yes,
that
and
is certainly an anomaly.
It's a lot closer than our moon is.
Yeah, it looks pretty damn close.
That and these are the things they're hiding in our skies with the chemtrails. My friend Dawn Hull up in Washington State, she has a camera that looks up into the sky using infrared. And I don't know if I have the pictures here, but she's seeing massive, huge things in her skies. This is down in Australia. March 21st. Look at that massive red thing in the sky.
Looks like the sky's on fire.
That's how close this thing is showing. Just like back on January 8th over in Florence, Italy. My friend, let me dig up the picture real fast. Back up.
That's a good one, yeah.
Let me clear that down. Hold on. Here it is, January 8th.
And that green one, too, after, if you could show. You sent me that one. That's a good one.
Anyone who wants to see how massive these things come towards the Earth, this one image here, including the other one we just saw, shows how big this thing and why they're hiding it. Because even I would be thinking about running for the hills if this thing ever shows up.
They're hiding it right now.
There we go. This is in the skies over Florence, Italy. Look at this big thing on the horizon, January 8th. She had this person, I keep making a mistake saying she, had this expertly enhanced. Look at that huge thing on the horizon. That's not our sun. This person actually had a nice video on YouTube on how this was enhanced. On January 12th, she had the picture reversed, where everything that was white became black, black became white. And if the average person in Florence, Italy, was seeing that on their horizon, they would have all been at the Vatican praying on their knees. That is the same red thing that we're seeing in the newer pictures. That's how close its orbit, or our orbit, takes us to it. I cannot tell you how big that thing is, because only the powers that be, the leaders of this planet, know how big this is, how close it was coming towards the planet right then. But if it had been that close, you would have had massive earthquakes right then and there. So it wasn't that close. Now, during the Exodus, 1613, the Ippawar said that in the skies over on up, the destroyer took up to 1/5 of the sky.
You know
That's
what, Robert?
tremendous.
If I can jump in here for a moment, just because the sound is starting to diminish big time. Your voice is breaking up. I don't know if it's just because of the internet connection or the topics being discussed or whatever. So just be aware of that.
I understand that. I can hear you very clearly. You're saying my voice might be breaking up.
Big time.
We might be having more problems with the internet because no one knows I'm doing this show, but they monitor what I do. So let's put it that way too. Here's another one. This is on February 16th. This image was taken, someone had the access back in 1983. The IRAS satellite was first put up by NASA. And there's the name, IRIS. It first saw Nibiru coming through our solar system, and the people at NASA jumped off the gun and had news conferences. And they said, we found something out beyond Pluto that was between 4 to 8 times the size of the planet Earth. A few days later, NASA pulled all of the news conference from every paper saying, no, these guys didn't know what they were talking about. IRAS was told to have gone silent a couple of years later because it used up all of its liquid hydrogen to cool the cameras. But this camera picture here says this picture was taken on, 2003. That's a long time since 1983, isn't it? That camera was still operating. There's all the numbers for the pictures. Oh, IRIS satellite. October 21st, 2003. And there's that big thing with the wings. There's Nibiru right there.
So that's Nibiru, then. That's the one that's out there by Jupiter.
That's the one that's going between Jupiter and Mars. The IRIS satellite was catching it as it was coming inwards towards our solar system because it orbits around The brown dwarf star we call Nemesis. Nemesis has 6 planets. I don't know the names of the first 5. Planet 6 is Nemesis. The dwarf planet Sedna, I'm going to show you these pictures while I've got them right here. See, NASA's known about this stuff for a long time. Let's see. Okay. NASA imaged our brown dwarf star Nemesis back in 2007, 2008. Here it is. An infrared picture from something. I can't tell you what because I don't know what. There's Nemesis right there. Brown dwarf star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets. Planet 6 was orbiting towards our system. Planet 6 is Nibiru. NASA leaked this in 2009. A lot of leaking from NASA, I swear, but the NASA scientists have been leaking this information to every government, to every group.
So they don't have to. So they don't have to come out and say it.
Exactly. There's our brown dwarf solar system. There's the first 5 you saw in the picture, the infrared picture. There's Planet 6. See, NASA also pulled something else. So did every other government around this time. They were all saying that the Mayan calendar, December 21st, 2012, didn't exist because nothing would happen. But here we are in 2009, and they were projecting ahead of schedule that you wouldn't see Nibiru on December 21st, 2012, because it would be 20 astronomical units away from orbiting through our solar system. They knew it then. That's why they've been building the deep underground military bases. That's why Denver Airport has a massive deep underground military base underneath it and is fully activated now. They're all fully activated. This is why Moscow built over 5,000 bomb shelters for all of its people.
But I mean, couldn't it have also been just because of, you know, hey, we've got tons of nukes, they've got tons of nukes. I mean, they've been building, you know, bomb shelters and stuff now for 60 years.
The Russians have been the only country talking about the planet Nibiru on RT News, Russia Today News. I've seen one video after another over the years. They're talking about it fully, just as we're talking right now. They were showing pictures of it. And they have been showing, I've never been able to get a hold of RT News, though. I tried getting a hold of them, some emails, but never got any return from them. Okay, you see this right here? That's planet number 6. Dwarf planet 7 is the dwarf planet called Sedna. And this is from my computer program. Where is it? Next one down. Right there. AstroViewer. You can go on any astronomical program you have, pull up your solar system, and then click on the name Sedna, S-E-D-N-A. It is a dwarf planet. AstroViewer. There's our solar system right there. And there's Sedna. If you go to the center of where this orbit is, you would have Nemesis, with planet 6 orbiting between Jupiter and Mars. See the steep, the huge rise right there? Robert Harrington, the doctor from the Naval Institute Press, he was one of the that was leading part of the teams that NASA put on researching this. He said that Nibiru had a regular orbit. It did not have an elliptical orbit, as everyone had been saying up until then and still till now. He said that Nibiru orbits through our system on a high angle, just like this. This is the ecliptic plane of every planet in our solar system. That's about 40-something degrees above the ecliptic plane. That's the angle that Nibiru swings down through our solar system. So Sedna has the same type of orbit, and so does the planet or dwarf planet Pluto. You can see it right there. Sedna, Nibiru, and the other five planets orbit through our system clockwise. So does Pluto. I wonder why it's the only one that does that. This is the stuff they don't want you to know, and for good reason. They don't want everyone freaking out, and I can understand that. This was given to me by a friend at NASA from the Microsoft Worldwide Telescope. They started showing weird things back in 2007. And most of the telescopes were blanking it out. See these 5 white things? Maybe a 6th one right there?
Oh, yeah.
Has nothing in the middle. This is what they call a DSS photograph.
Looks like part of the Little Dipper.
This is what you would see if you looked out through a telescope. A brown dwarf or any dwarf star can only be seen in the infrared band. This was given to me by a friend at NASA. This was being seen on almost all of the telescope things. Google Earth Sky had it blacked out, like someone taking a marking pen across it. Microsoft Worldwide Telescope did the same thing. All of them did the same thing. Let's see. Okay. Where are we at? Where are we at? Back up there. Okay. NASA imaged the planet Nibiru itself in 2008. You can see the dates and times right down there. 08, 5th month, 14th day at 7:36 p.m. What did they use to image this? I can't tell you. I was told most of these have been taken by the South Pole Telescope. South Pole Telescope is run by the Jesuits, as is every other observatory around the planet. They're paying for all the stuff to be kept silent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 planets or moons. Nibiru is either the same size as Jupiter or a little bit larger. Very clear. NASA's done a lot of work over this time. A lot of stuff has been leaked out from NASA. Here is one of the best ones right here. Might have shown this before, I'm not sure if I did or not. This one shows the entire Nemesis star system. We got there. January 20th, 2008, 21:43 p.m. Here's the log number for it. Computer enhanced brown dwarf star with false color. False color. 1, 2, 3. I'm told you can see, right there. You can see almost all 6 of them right there. See, I don't see if I can enlarge this up if I'm going haywire on me. all leaked by NASA. Many NASA people want this stuff to be out there. It has been out there, but everyone's been ignoring it for quite some time. Not me or my wife. Project Silo, an Israeli, Vatican, US space probe, 1995. It went out beyond Pluto, met up with the incoming Nibiru, orbited it, videotaped it, came back, downloaded everything into a secret Jesuit base on a HARP facility up in Alaska. The Vatican finally leaked it themselves with a high-ranking Jesuit priest in early 2000. Jesuit priest went out to talk to Christopher Barbato, an Italian reporter. I know I'm not pronouncing his name correctly. There is the planet Nibiru. Somehow, some way, this very advanced space probe with alien technology was launched from Area 51 using the Aurora space plane, went all the way out, did its work, and then it was all leaked by the high-ranking Jesuit priest to Christopher Barbato. He put his copyright on the photographs that were taken from Lucas Cantamburlo's Camelot, Project Camelot webpage. There it is right there, 2006, C. Barbato. Mr. Barbato is no longer, from what I'm told, I could be wrong, he is no longer a reporter. He works for the Vatican now. Kind of interesting.
You know, also, while you're talking about this, in a moment, I just sent you a picture of something I blogged about a few years ago. I used to be quite the avid blogger, keyboard warrior. And there was a link that I was sent, or I was given, that goes to Google. And I actually sent the imaging on that. You can see the picture. You can see the coordinates. And it certainly looks like what could be the infamous Planet X or Nemesis or Wormwood or whatever definition you want to put on it, whatever term. But I would like you to show that in a moment if you don't mind.
Sure. This thing here, I forgot what this is called. NASA sent out some type of signal. And the signal bounced back off Nibiru. And this showed them it was very, very real. This was, it goes into two different terms. There's a blue signal and there's a red signal. And I know I'm not remembering it correctly. It's some kind of shock something or something. And you know, everyone's been downloading this stuff for a long time. In fact, even one group, I can't mention its name because they'll probably get in trouble. They had a seer, a palm reader, or a person that does, seances and stuff. And supposedly this seer got this from an interdimensional source. Here's two different systems. Here's our solar system. And there's the other system. Nice big red thing right there. You're the first one to see those. I've hardly ever shown them around before. Who wants to talk about a seer knowing what's coming, right? Doing seances and doing...
The gypsy dozen is what a lot of people would probably
The gypsies, yes. Exactly.
Hey, gypsies are cool, man. Just depends on which ones you find. I mean, you've not the ones that are going to steal your wallet and, read your palm and tell you BS. But I think really there's a lot of definitions to what a gypsy is. But one of the definitions is somebody that's a free spirit.
Now, this is also from the same Newmeyer station down in Antarctica. Because I've been collecting these things for quite some time. Because I've been doing this research for a long time. 2011. There's that thing right there.
Yeah, the zebra stripes.
Yes. I'll show you the picture from April 10th, 2015. They had the cameras locked on that thing for a long time. This is 2011. Okay? So there's no BS here, no photoshopping. They were tracking it for a long time. Let me get over there to the pictures again. And I hate to say it, no other researcher is showing pictures like this. Bob Fletcher isn't showing any pictures, although I was on a show with him with Dr. Sasha Lesson and Janet Lesson a couple of years back.
I'll tell you, Steve Olson, though, is doing some great work. I've seen some fascinating pictures that he's given out to the audience with the WSO Wormwood System Observer. As a matter of fact, he's doing this really cool high-altitude balloon project right now, and I just saw his most recent video where they sent this balloon up as high as they could, and they got this really weird EVP stuff, this like... they're thinking that it might be some ET presence making contact with them, like, hey, we see what you're doing.
Okay, here's New Mars Station, April 10th. New Mars Station number 3, Antarctica. There it is, right there. Let's get you an enlargement of that. Look at that thing. Black and white only, although they do have color cameras down there, and I didn't know about them. The average person didn't know they had color cameras, except for a bunch of my friends. This person put a name on. I don't know if that's the correct name or not. Now, in the background, you can see something big. Now, Nemesis is the brown dwarf star. Nemesis should not be coming in this close. Should not be. A while back, there was a YouTube video, a 45-minute video show called Nemesis, Our Sun's Evil Twin. And they wouldn't talk about Nibiru, but they did talk about Sedna. And Sedna's humongous orbit around in our little solar system. Interesting video. Here's my friend Sharon. She first saw this thing on April 29th in color. I need to apologize to your viewers that watch these things. I don't have a very fast computer.
It's doing a lot better than last time. No need to apologize.
Okay, yeah, I turned off Facebook. That's why. And we have him right underneath the signal right now.
The
Here's her
Borg
house.
book.
She's back in Illinois. Look what we have here. Stripes. And she enlarged that picture up. Pointing to it right there. And there she is. That's that blue one. Let me back that off. It doesn't want to cooperate. So April 29th, 2015 was the first time anyone that took photographs said they took a photograph of it. And then it just went downhill from there. We started seeing all the other ones, just one after the other, mostly over Europe. Sharon Havabek. I can't pronounce her name correctly. Just Sharon. That's the first time it was caught in color, and someone posted it. She's a friend of mine on Facebook. You can see from all the photographs here, it just started being seen left and right, left and right. This was hot in the skies over Colorado by another friend. The same exact thing.
You know, I was in Colorado Springs back in 2013. I spent a month out there, and they were spraying the chemtrails so intense out there that with my
Mm-hmm.
polarized sunglasses, I could actually see just billions and billions of these particulates
Well,
falling down
this
from the
also,
skies. It was just
sorry,
raining this
this is also
nasty stuff.
Sharon again. But you can see the same stripes. Uh, 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 I had after she started sending her photographs in, we just started going, here's the other weird one. This might be the silver one. This one has been caught several times. And at first, I didn't know what to think of it until I saw it in the skies over Hawaii. A couple of my friends were up next to the observatories on top of that volcano, 14,000 feet up. And they saw it in their skies. And it was just, this was caught down in Victoria Land and Antarctica. And I didn't know what to think of this. That's not our moon. Was this fake? No, it wasn't fake because I saw the same photograph months and months later. You know, these just one photograph after another, after another. This big thing here, I think this was over Canada. So that was what, June 12th, 2015. Everyone, see, I don't know the orbital paths, how the orbits are being altered by the Earth's tilt or what, but these things were showing up all around the planet, and the photographs were not played with. It looks like it has stripes, but I can't tell. She didn't get, this was a she, this one lady. She was catching it late in the evening, right after sunset. Then one picture after another, after another. This one here was caught down in the skies over Mexico. This was the first time I'd seen this thing. And you're seeing it. I have a large collection of these photographs all around the planet. Look at that. Here it is. Look at that.
Yeah.
Two, and that's not our moon. Well, I tried to enlarge it, and I wound up having two pictures at the same time. And here, that was what, June 19th. See if I can get that one to come up real good. I know I have a slow computer, only has 4 gigs of memory. I know that. I wish I could afford some of the nicer stuff.
You know, I mean, it's really not that bad. Last time it seemed to be literally 10 times slower, so this is fine.
Yeah. You know, and this is 215 all the way up until December. You're seeing one photograph after another showing 2 suns in the sky, 2 suns in the sky. We shouldn't have 2 suns because we don't have 2 suns. And anyone that knows anything about digital cameras, they've been blasting the digital cameras for years saying, oh, that's a defect, don't believe that, until it gets larger and larger and larger in our skies. And it's one lie after another, and probably for good reasons. You know, I don't want people freaking out. I don't want people complaining. I don't want people going haywire. What was that plane, that electric-powered plane that flew around the world in June of last year?
I don't remember the name of it, but the article.
Really nice airplane, electric-powered. It had just taken off from Hawaii. And there's that one right there. There's our sun. Official photograph from an airplane. I tried showing this to people, and they said, "Oh, that's just sun flare. That's this, it's that." They weren't seeing the real thing, Bob. Don't worry about it. No problem.
Now, there's the map that we were talking about earlier, the declassified Navy map, the Edgar Casey map overlays it as well. And this is why a lot of military people had actually, of high rankings, had moved to certain places that seemed to be safe on that map. So
they were told to relocate above 4,000 feet elevation. This is Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet. Before he died in 1945, he was the first person to ever use the term pole shift. He started warning everyone that a pole shift was coming. And he had a map made up by one of his friends or something showing the United States. Now, these are newer versions of what the United States and what every country around the world would look like after the upcoming pole shift. Here's the Great Lakes. They've ripped a hole right down through Indiana, Illinois, all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Good part of, I don't have the part showing up as far of the northeast as I can, but most of the low-lying areas are gone. The West Coast completely disappears. All there is islands as far in as Arizona, the Four Corners region. All this is flooded up through Mexico. Lake Tahoe is one massive island.
Is Crater Lake still there?
Let's see. Most of the coastline's gone all the way up to Canada, so I don't know where Crater Lake is.
Kind of central. It's pretty high up there. I mean, it's in central Oregon.
Yeah, this one here is not very clear as the other maps I have. I'll show you in a couple minutes. You're seeing these things. Here's when the red things started to show up for the first time in the skies over Germany, over Florida, like right here. This is another observatory where there's a big red thing in the sky right there. East, west, south, north. There's that big red thing. This was back in 2015. That's July 14th. That's when the red thing first started to show up. Then the people over in Europe started to see it, over Germany, over Ireland, over Scotland. Here's a part down here. This one person was collecting photographs going around. And
the Men in Black just got you.
Yeah, it figures.
Nanu.
Robin Williams is Nanu. Yes, that's actually Grandpa. Nanu. In Maltese, it means Grandpa.
Cool.
Objects around the sun. 717. 2. Something big right there. Boom. Something big. Can't really enlarge it, but it looks to be kind of grayish or bluish. Who knows exactly what it was. I couldn't match that with the other photographs I have.
It seems a lot more solid, at least those pictures, than the ones of the red Kachina that we were just looking at.
And here's a nice one right here by a friend named Sasha. Here's our sun, and that's showing Nibiru. It wasn't Nibiru. We really, at this point, back in 2015, we didn't understand that these were probably planets or moons orbiting Nibiru versus being Nibiru itself. This is what everyone was starting to pick up all around the planet. They're seeing it over in the Middle East. I've got friends over there in Egypt and around that they are clearly seeing it in their skies. This is a friend of mine, Emily Elizabeth Craig, Windsor Craig. She wanted to make sure I wasn't showing a phony image. This is from the April 10th thing over Antarctica. So she had the image enlarged up. And she said it was very clearly a real object. There's the stripes. See, I have a lot of friends that look at the photographs and they say, Bob, that's all Photoshop, or this is all fake. This is all faked.
And it's not necessarily that it looks photoshopped. I mean, it just kind of looks like it could be a reflection of something or some type of lens flare, just because it doesn't seem solid.
Well, if I go back to the original image back on April 10th, it's very clearly a solid object in the skies over Antarctica, Nibiru Station. Here's the original right here.
Okay, yeah. Now that one, so that's actually taken from that specific picture then.
Exactly. She enlarged this one image right here to make sure I was not putting around faked images.
Okay, well, now that you say that, then I would say that it would give it more credibility indeed.
Yeah, it doesn't want to feel like see, all the information is at the top of the image right here. As soon as it shows it, right there. After these images were taken, at this time, the Nibiru Station started faking it. When it came to that time, suddenly it was bright and sunny and nothing in the sky. Or it had a different date. The dates were changed. There was other images from the same date and time, but 2 years before or 1 year later. 1 year before. So they started playing with the webcam. Then they actually turned this webcam down where you couldn't see anything above. So you just saw a little right there. So they started faking it. But thankfully, all these images were taken before. And thankfully, I had those images from 2011 to back up the later images. That one I showed you from 2011, they showed something big in the sky that they've been following for years. And the photos just kept coming and coming and coming. Here is July 29th. There's this red thing in the sky. One picture after the other, after the other, after the other. All the way through Kansas City. People started saying, as soon as I started to show that this thing was real, I got more and more and more and more photographs from all around the planet. And more friends. I had more friends wanting to be friends on Facebook. But I also had a huge amount of naysayers saying, Bob, what have you been doing? This is all faked images. Ah.
You know, also, just so we don't forget, you sent me another picture that you haven't shown yet.
Yes.
That just ginormous, Brobdingnagian looking thing's taking up 75% of the sky, and the sun is taking up, about 5% of it.
Okay, here's some 8.3, and there it is right there.
Now, that's an interesting picture.
This thing was caught over a lot of countries, just one after the other, after the other. Over China, over Japan, Italy, Germany. Here's in the skies, I think this is Germany right here, from 8 something. Most of these have been taken off web cameras. And as soon as the people started mentioning the web camera, web camera wasn't there no more. It was turned off, or the web camera was angled differently so it couldn't show the same thing again. There she is right there. I've been telling people, because my contact has been telling me for months, actually going back into last year, people have to be prepared. She's not telling me what will happen. She just keeps telling me things will happen. I had to be hypnotized by Brown with the Cosmic Cafe.
Yeah, I remember you were talking to us about that last time, and that's pretty cool. You know, some of the stuff that you were able to obtain from that experience. There's sometimes speculation that when people are a contactee like yourself, that there might be some nefarious purposes, that maybe the person that's making a connection with you is, you know, some type of government black ops type stuff, or more of a hallucination where they're trying, because there is technology that's been around for decades where they can send voices into people's, you know, people think they're hearing voices because they are, because it's projected audio weaponry that it taps a certain part of the brain. And just like a neurophone, they're very difficult to get, but Dr. Patrick Flanagan created the neurophone, which allows people to hear without hearing through their ears. I mean, if you're deaf, if you've been deaf your whole life and you hook up this neurophone, you can actually hear, but what happens is it uses your skin more as a transducer for sound. It's incredible.
Okay. Now you talked about the blue one. It decided to act up on me. This bluish, greenish looking thing might be, as you believe, might be a separate thing from that blue planet with the stripes on it. I've been showing this to my Hopi friends, and they are not telling me what they're seeing in their skies over Arizona, but they know about it. That's all I'm told. Sharon again. She's been following the skies and the webcams very well. Here's this nice big blue thing right there. Here's a white thing, and there's our sun. So there's two things caught in the skies by Sharon that one day. Now, I sent you one photograph, I'm going to be getting up to them real soon, where it was, again, actually caught two planets in the same image. So I don't want to spend too much time just showing everyone that watches. These are the photographs that have been sent in to me since last year, so they can, you know, without me clicking on them with this really slow working computer, you know, here they are. So I've got these photographs going all the way from January to December of 2015. And there's one picture after another, after another, after another.
And if we could, Bob, for the last part of the show here, I think we got about a half hour left or so, if that's okay with you. It'd be nice to see the most recent photos as well.
Yeah.
And also show that one that I talked to you about earlier on the Google Maps that I sent you.
Right. Now, a lot of people said, Bob, you don't know what you're talking about. That's actually, this is actually a lens flare right there. Okay? This is the symbol. That's a lens flare. You invert the photograph, and only doing a inverting or reversing the photograph, it's real. There's no lens flare, because a lens flare would not show up as a solid object when you reverse the photograph. Okay, that's 2015. Let me jump up here to 2016. I'll share those most recent photographs. Okay, there's the ones over Florence, Italy. That's where it was reversed. Here it is caught in the observatory. There's a nice red dot showing the thing. On these photographs here, you'll see a nice little red dot in the sky over Mexico. I know we've covered those before, so I'm not going to cover them again. If you give me a 4-hour radio, then we'll cover it in depth. I'm sorry.
You want to go another 2 hours? Let's do it. I mean, we can go that far.
Hey, I'm just honored to be on your show. And okay, here's the photographs from my friend Don Hull up in Washington. See these huge red things in the skies? That's those big, massive space bodies.
And can you click on one or two of those for us?
Sure. See, an infrared camera shows heat. It sees heat and it shows it as a red object. Those are in her morning skies. Heavy clouds, whatever you want to call it, one photograph.
Chem clouds.
Chem clouds. One photograph after another of something huge, massive, and red in her skies. And they're all circular. Like a planet or a moon up in her skies. And she always puts her name right there, Dawn Hull. February 11th, 9 a.m. in the morning. She's actually had her computer shut down several times. And she knows she's being watched. I've had my computer shut down many times. I've actually lost 2 desktop computers, 15 laptop hard drives. I save everything on flash drives or burn them to a CD now. DVD. Okay, let's go back to that one big one in the sky. Here's some more reversed images right there showing black. Boom, boom, there they are. And that was what, 3? Here we go. So March 17th. Shot next to the sun with a telescope. You've seen all the other photographs, one big red thing in the sky, from observatory seeing it to this one seeing it. I'm going to go through these rather quickly as long as the machine lets me. Red.
There's the demonic Mickey Mouse we just passed.
Yeah. Machine doesn't want to cooperate all the time. Oh yeah, I've had to research the holy heck out of this because all my friends on Facebook said, this isn't real. Tell us how this is real. Well, here's the ancient accounts that talked about it. You know the Holy Bible, don't you? I've had scripts from the Holy Bible shoved down my throat so many times.
Stop at this one again for a minute because, every time I look at this, can you zoom in on that a little bit more?
I'll try to. I think that's about as far as I can without pictures.
Without getting the double?
Yeah.
Okay. So
this is from an observatory. This is not from someone taking a picture with their camera or their cell phone. This is from an observatory.
I think this is the most, out of all the pictures that I've seen, for a heavenly body that's not supposed to be there from what we're learning in school or what we've been taught. This one is one of my favorites.
Same here. And that was this and another one in the sky at the same time, coming up real quick.
I mean, just look at the detail there. Look at the craters. Yes. It's heavily cratered, and it's not see-through anywhere.
And it's not our moon. Because we know what our moon looks like.
Yeah, it's certainly not the moon that we typically look at in the skies that's lit up at night. So
that's right.
Fascinating. Now, let me ask you.
Here is the moon. Right there. That's the moon shining at night. This is at nighttime. This is not during the day. This is nighttime. And that's our sun glancing off the moon. You got that one there. Another observatory, the big red thing. I'm going to go through these. There's that one again. That one again. That one. There's the big red thing in the sky for Australia. Savannah Skies, Australia. They're seeing it down there and they don't know what to think about it. There it is again, just before sunrise. You can see the...
It's kind of got those zebra stripes a little bit.
No, this is mostly being covered by something where you're not seeing it as clearly as the one before.
Uh-huh.
And even then, this is being covered by something too, but it's giving off the clear red. Now it's getting more and more daylight, and it's slowly disappearing. There's a bluish, greenish thing right there. So you might be right. That might be another moon or planet that we're seeing. One of those ones you showed that this other person caught on a web camera. Because it's clearly, and there's the chemtrails.
They love you.
Contrails dissipate quickly. Chemtrails don't. They'll go for miles and miles in the skies. Let's see, George Norrie has been very curious about chemtrails lately. He doesn't believe that they're real because he's never seen them somehow or some way. So, George, if you're following this show, those are chemtrails. Look at that.
No, that's just normal, man. Those are just contrails.
You know,
yeah, commercial
this
flights.
Is all
doesn't exist. Swamp gas.
There's another one from that same area. There's the bluish looking thing, but not the blue planet or moon we detailed earlier. Here's our moon.
Well, let's look at that for a minute. Let's look at this one again because, okay, so our moon is what kind of looks like the sun almost a little bit, as far as, or something.
Well,
but here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this big blue thing on the left, and then there's a little blue dot on the bottom right there. And I'm wondering, could this just be some type of reflection from the moon?
This thing here, I was told this is a flare on the camera because Sharon, she turned it around a couple of times to make sure that stayed in the same spot every time. So that is a flare. And I've seen other people do the same thing, both on video and with their nice cameras.
You know, so I think I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to make a point here because I think it would be so important for people that research Planet X, Nibiru, Wormwood, all of these planetary bodies, if there was a way to immediately debunk lens flare, you know, find the root core or say, okay, that was
the only way that I'm sorry to interrupt you there. The only way I am told you can debunk lens flare is if you have the photograph reversed.
Now, is that a full sure way though? I mean, you know what I mean? Is that, what's the percentage that's right if you reverse it? Do you know? I mean, is it 99% accurate if it's reversed to prove something's fake?
Yes, exactly. Either you can reverse the image yourself on your own computer if you have the proper software, or you have to have someone who's an expert to do it, and it's the same results. Just like the photograph of the thing on the horizon over Florence, Italy. The person saw this thing twice. The second time when the person saw it, they took 3 photographs of it and had the photographs enhanced expertly twice, and then had the image reversed to show this thing is right there where I showed you it was. And if everyone there in Florence, Italy had seen that thing in their skies without the cloud cover or whatever was covering the horizon, they would have all been praying at the Vatican within minutes. and so would everyone else. This is a relatively new one. It's 321. There's that same planet, the blue one, that has the stripes on it. Another image of it. There's our sun. There it is right there. Boom, boom, boom. You can see the colors.
Yeah, zoom in on that a little bit. Let's go back there for a second, because that one did catch my eye. Okay.
Well, this is one of the photographs that was sent in because people saw something that didn't look right here. This was back on March 23rd. What's that big black thing right there? So they took another photograph, and lo and behold, there it is. Something was being hidden by the clouds or by the chemtrails or by something. Something very big in the skies. A lot of people are seeing this because a lot of people are following your shows, the radio shows I did recently with Dr. Sasha Lesson and Janet Lesson.
Yeah, they're actually they're great people. We're gonna talk to them here in a couple of weeks.
I've actually driven them to the shows that they were, because we were all going to the same show. So they flew into San Francisco. They were at one hotel, and I'll show you the photographs we took a little bit further on in here.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Here's another one, which is giving off the stripes, and it's bluish. People catching stuff like this in the sky. What is that?
Tron.
Here was something very big in this image right here that was partially hidden by clouds or something. People are looking into their skies and they're seeing stuff like this and saying, Bob, what the heck is that? And I've had one photograph after another being sent to me because they took it on their cell phone while the car was moving, and they just went clip, clip, clip. Here we are over Mexico again. There's the Wormwood, Red Kachina, the destroyer. Here's something over here. People send me all kinds of photos, and they're all from like Earth cams, or they're from Mexico cams, or they're from this or that. I think this was over in England, if I remember correctly. Dawn Hull, looking up into her skies early morning. That's not the sun. This huge thing right there. 9 a.m. in the morning. Although she says it's the sun. So
is that an inverted photo also?
It might have been. She has a lot of the proper programs to do that stuff with. Here's that bluish green looking thing. It's not the planet with the stripes, otherwise you would see stripes. Here's the sun flare right there. There's the sun. There's this thing.
You can see almost like a red tint that is accented around it.
Right, I saw that. If we had seen this in our skies for the last 3,000 years, you would know about it. We would all know about it. Because we're all taught in our schools what we can see in the skies. It's real. This person put it through a bunch of filters. There's the sun flare. There's the camera thing again. Real thing. Oop. Nice and red. Black sun. There's that weird little thing again. Although this thing here says it's real, because it's showing up as black when it's reversed.
You think it's one of the moons possibly or something?
I honestly don't know. I wish I did. I'm not an expert in this stuff. I went through the basic high school as everyone else did, and Go again, Savannah Skies, Australia. Boop, right there. From an observatory. There's a nice red thing in the sky. We don't have red things in our skies. That's weird, and that one I'm a little bit doubtful.
Yeah, that one looks like like a jelly bean or something. Look at that. That one I would say is photoshopped.
Yeah. Return to Planet X. A lot of these are showing up on Facebook now too. Everyone's playing on the here's a huge empty city with power, plumbing, and air conditioning down in Saudi Arabia. I wonder why that's there now. Do they know something that the average person doesn't know?
I'm joking.
Just like the Chinese abandoned cities down in Africa, that heavily under guard where no one could go into them. Why were they built and why are they abandoned? Do they know something that's going to be shifting real soon?
You know, that's another thing I wanted to bring up real quick, Bob, because if you look at a lot of the speculation now on if there's going to be a pole shift, earth changes, cataclysms, coastal cities underwater, well, let's look at the places where the government is spending billions of dollars building new facilities, like
up in
San Antonio.
Norway.
You know, San Antonio's not in the on the coast, but it's also not 5,000 feet up, and they just built a multi-billion-dollar facility, NSA facility on the outskirts of San Antonio. So if they've got insider information about it, I'm sure they wouldn't put multiple billions of dollars into it in that place if it was going to be underwater.
Or maybe they don't. Maybe they're just doing what's normal for business. See, no one's pulling the plug on the stock market yet, okay? None of the world's billionaires are running to the deep underground military bases or the arcs to hide out. They know this thing isn't here yet, but people are starting to see it now. My contact says all of these things, like this big red thing seen over Germany, will be clearly in our skies. No chemtrail or anything else will be able to hide them by June. And these things are getting larger and larger and larger in our skies. Here you go right there. Sun, something here. Enhanced photograph is the same thing. Boom. Almost as big as that one time seen over Florence, Italy. Here's the same New Mars station. Everyone's starting to pay attention to this thing now. Here it is on April 3rd. There's that big bluish looking thing by Sharon again. Here's a nice sun. And at those hands we see that's very clearly something that's not supposed to be there. One photograph after another from all around the planet. Everyone's paying attention to this stuff now because of your show and other shows. And I'm sorry to say none of the other experts are showing pictures like this. Now, if these people can see these photographs, why won't they show them? Maybe they don't believe them. I don't know. This was, I think, over in Spain, Avril. That's how they say it over there. 1432, so that's what, 2:35 in the afternoon. Big something hidden in the sky by something with an arrow pointing towards it. Other people sending in these photographs. Now this one, she knows how to take a photograph. There's no doubt about that. She is catching this in her sky.
That's very interesting.
It is. And she didn't know what to say about it either. There's that green thing again. Sharon again, 9:30 a.m. in the morning. There she is again.
This is all just a few days old, too.
Yes. There's that nice greenish looking thing right there. That thing might be a separate planet. As you showed me those photographs of all those things in the moon. This was back through time. I forget exactly what it was, but it showed the blue Kachina and the red Kachina in the skies over somewhere. Someone popped that.
What are those other two big blue?
The blue Kachina or blue star? I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
But the blue and red caught a lot of people by surprise.
You know, what's interesting is if you look at these two big blue ones, they're actually larger, and there's got to be a significance there. I wonder what those two represented in this ancient mythology or mythos.
Not sure. It shows what looks like Christian type stuff with Christ with the halo around his head. The person didn't give too much knowledge about it. It might be fake. It might be real. I couldn't tell.
Well, I mean, it meant something at the time. I'm sure there's significance to all of it.
Here's that big white one. It always has one big, huge crater up in one corner. And there's the other one right there. There's the one with the stripes. That white one only showed that one corner, didn't show the right side. Other people have shown me this thing, but looking green, as it was put through a green filter, and has a huge crater on the right side of it. Can you see that? You want me to enlarge that a little bit further if I can?
If you can, but I can definitely see what looks like some type of crater or something, yeah.
Here's the striped one. That's the blue one with the stripes seen over Antarctica and over Illinois. And there's that puppy right there.
Should nickname that one the Death Star.
Yeah. Several people have. Let me see how far I can take that up. Now my machine wants to work right.
There you go.
So you've got one planet
Pac-Man.
or moon. Yeah, it's got the mouth. There's the eyes right there. Oh.
Get the magic tablets. You'll be invincible.
Yes.
And then there's Zebra Man down there. He's getting ready to, he's running from Zebra Man, and he's looking for his magic tablet.
So this is April 7th right there.
Hey, we could call it Galactic Pac-Man.
So you've got two of them caught in the same image. Like I said, these things are growing bolder and bolder in our skies now.
Can you tell us where this picture came from? This is a good one.
Very few of the people tell me exactly where they took the photograph because they're afraid that they'll be whatever, or that the webcam was turned off or angled downwards. A lot of people say they won't tell where they took the photograph from.
That's understandable.
And the one, I can't blame them because they know that someone's watching all this stuff. They know that all of my contacts are being followed. All of my emails are being gone through.
Does that give you a sense of pride, like you're on the right track?
Other people told me I should feel that way, yes. But when you have one laptops aren't cheap. The one I have, I know I bought for $350. To me, that's a lot of money. Other people, that's just pocket change. I have a $1,000 laptop right in front of me. So I don't know what to say. When it comes out of my pocket, and it happens over and over and over and over again, where I have to go to the extremes of burning everything on DVDs and putting them aside with numbers on them, or I have to buy fancy flash things, 60 gigs, 120 gigs, 256 gigs, to put all this stuff in. Hopefully it'll still survive after what's going to happen. It's expensive to me and my wife. My wife lost her last laptop, and she wouldn't do anything with the stuff. She said, "You do it." And I've been doing it for the last couple of years. I can't blame her. Here's our son, but here's something right there. Very clearly right there. Right next to our son. I'm quite sure the other people are also, they're hearing from me on this stuff, saying this is what happened. Well, I don't want my computer to go dead, and I don't want to have the men in black pounding on my door or something. Here's the sun. There's that thing right next to the sun there again. Here's an interesting looking one right there. There's the red one again. A lot of people don't want to say what webcams these came from because they know they get turned off. There's something right there next to our sun. Doop. There's our sun, so it's been filtered. This is on April 9th. Today's the 10th. I couldn't find any newer photographs on Facebook today. There's our sun. There's this thing right there. All the arrows pointing to it. So these things are growing bolder and bolder and bolder in our skies. So my contact said they will become very clear in our skies by June. There's the red one again right there. April 9th. Something there being covered by something nice and round.
Can you zoom in on that one?
Yeah. Either the Anunnaki are trying, or what other alien race is helping us, because I know they've intervened. They don't want panic, neither do I. I want everyone to be prepared. The only way you can be prepared is to prepare as if you're going on a 6-month backpacking trip. Emergency essentials only. When something happens, you'll have the survival stuff already bagged up in your car or in a backpack. When the earthquakes hit, which I know they're going to happen, that's what the Hopis have already prophesized. And believe it or not, that's what sounds normal. That's what all the earthquakes you saw in the movie 2012 happened when everything started to go to heck without the handbag. Here's another image from an observatory. East, west, north, south. There's the red thing again. Here's another one. Here's a nice big thing in the sky. It's being covered by something, either by a cloaking device or by the chemtrails or by the aliens themselves. I can't tell you. Here's the entire east, south, west. This is from the observatory. Which observatory? I can't say because they didn't put the image down. And here's another thing right there.
Well, and that's what I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm looking at both of those, and I'm looking also where the sun is, and the way that it's lined up, it almost seems like to me it's so perfect that that might be lens flare.
Let me go back to it. Lens flare has a different look to it from all the lens flares I have described and seen myself. Lens flare is like a little white dot of some type, where if people move it, the lens thing goes around. You won't see lens flare from an observatory. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is not someone's camera. This is not someone's cell phone. This is from an observatory. There's two things in the sky right there. This one has stripes on it. I think that's the one
I
that
mean,
we
it's going to be sun reflection?
not from observatory. Observatories, they expect that, and they make sure the camera never does it. You know, observatories are observatories. They want exact images. They don't want lens flares. They don't want this or that. They want to clearly see what's in their skies. So they won't get lens flare. They won't have digital BS problems because these are not digital. These are nice, fancy, expensive cameras. Just like the SOHO satellite has multi-billion-dollar cameras on it, and it's still seeing those things coming into our solar system that look about the size of our planet.
Yeah, and those are still coming in, by the way.
Yes, they are.
And those, as far as at least whatever it is that's on the SOHO satellite or SOHO telescopes that I have seen recently, some brand new footage of what looks like these spaceships or outlines of enormous spaceships.
Here's the ones I tried to take from your thing earlier. It when I engage the snag it darkens the image. But here's the red thing with your arrow pointing right towards it. So there's the red one. There was another one right there. There's another one there.
That I think I sent you a screenshot of that actually as well. That's got a lot better imaging than that.
But these are the ones that I took earlier today. That's
okay.
The end of my photographs. Let's see, on your thing right here. This was the last one you sent earlier, and it was not as clear showing them as looking at the video itself, which was, you know, unfortunate. Here's the red.
Yeah, there it is. There's the. I mean, it looks like you can see this red.
Look at a blue or something on that one side. There's that one there. There's one there. There's one there. When I looked at the video, I counted at least 8.
It's like solar Skittles.
Yeah, exactly. E.T. dumped all the Skittles in the sky above us. Yeah.
Reese's Pieces.
Exactly. The original film was supposed to have had M&Ms.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not. But M&Ms wouldn't allow it. They thought it would make fun of their candy. So Reese's Pieces won the day.
Yeah. I wonder if Reese's Pieces got purchased by Mars, that ginormous. No, I mean Mars, the candy company.
Yeah. Okay. You wanted to see those other images from Edgar Casey. So let's see, where is he? He's in here somewhere. Edgar Casey, right there. Cool.
At least you're well organized there, Bob.
Yeah, well, I try to be. These were all based off of an original, which I've not been able to find. Prior to the Edgar Casey, he has his own little building down in the South where he has all of his files and stuff. And I've never had a chance to go there.
Virginia Beach.
Okay, thank you. Or to email him. But all of these are based off exactly what he had written. He had a person draw up for him. And this is what the United States would look like after the coming pole shift. The entire West Coast, except for islands, are gone. There's islands going all the way up. Lake Tahoe is one massive island. This is going into the Four Corners region, Arizona, right there. Here's the Great Lakes going all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Here's the entire East Coast. According to what a lot of people have been saying for about 25 years now, every high-ranking military official and his family, his or her family, were giving a very secret briefing. They were told that if someone calls or something ticks off or does something, they'll have 3 days to be outside in front of their house for them to be picked up and relocated. They were all told to relocate above 4,000 feet. A lot of them went over into the Adirondacks, the mountains over there on the East Coast. Is that how you pronounce them correctly?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. A lot of them went up into Montana, Colorado. Everyone has thought that it's supposed to be a dumb, deep underground military base under the Denver airport. Yes, there is. Yes, it is fully operational. I got that from my military contact. All of the DUMBs in the United States are on full activation. Which countries are on full activation or not, I have no way of knowing. Everything in this country is fully activated. That was also why they did that military drills back in January. I forgot the name of it now, where they had the military.
Jade Helm.
Yes. See, one of the things that was told by Ipuwer during the exodus of the Hebrews out of Egypt was that there were huge amounts of meteorite pieces falling all over Egypt. They were smashing all the temples. They smashed the palace, killing all of the firstborn, including the Pharaoh's firstborn. The Pharaoh was not Egyptian. He was Hyksos. That's why there's no account of him. The Hyksos came into ancient Egypt during the 12th Egyptian dynasty and were kicked out during the 17th Egyptian dynasty by Akhmos and his brother from southern Egypt. Akhmos in Hebrew means brother of Moses. Ipuwer's account says a priest prince from the inner courtyard of Pharaoh led everyone out of Egypt. That was Moses. Volcanic ash was falling all over Egypt. That has been accounted for already by several researchers that have been keeping it quiet. They did find volcanic ash all around the Hyksos' main city of Avaris. So the volcanic ash is from the ancient Greek island of Thera. It erupted and exploded during the Exodus time, dating firmly the date of the Exodus, 1613 BC. Other people have been doing different parts of these maps. Whether they worked off Edgar Cayce stuff, I have no way of knowing, but a whole bunch of these started showing up. You can actually go all around the planet seeing where it's supposed to look like everywhere. This one covers North America up into Canada, showing the East Coast, West Coast. Other ones went over to basically where England is. Can't see it here, and there's some differentiating between the different maps, which I didn't like. Whether they're being faked. These are marked primarily to be Cayce's maps here. And then there's the one that's from the U.S. Navy that was handed out to a lot of the military personnel, probably the Navy personnel at that time. This one here is future map of North America. This is mostly linked with Edgar Cayce. Up into Canada. Whether these are going to be real or not, I don't know. Edgar Cayce was the world's best sleeping prophet. You could write him a letter from any other place around the country. He would never know you. He would read, a secretary would read the letter to him while he was in a trance. And he would tell you exactly where to find the thing that would improve your health. There was one, I can't remember the entire thing, where a person wrote in, had some kind of problem, and Edgar Cayce described it as a certain type of medical condition. And he told the person to go to a certain pharmacy on a certain street and to tell the pharmacist to go way up in the back of the storeroom, up on the 18th, the eighth shelf, and he'll find a bottle named this. And he was to use it. And he was cured. The stories are just like that, time and time and time again. This one map, for whatever reason, done by whomever else, shows certain parts were raised up, tectonic plates pushed up. This is Greenland. Look how huge it is up there.
It's interesting because there's so much money and activity from multiple nations out in Greenland right now.
Mm-hmm. Where this huge part of it pushed well up out of the ocean, much higher than it is right now. Other parts, the mountain ranges went very high. Most of South Africa is gone except for the Andes right there. They're pushed way up. Part of its coast is pushed way up. This looks like Australia over here, so it looks like most of their continent's still there. But all of these islands, Sumatra Islands, I think. No, they're off Japan, aren't they? Yeah, they're over here. Japan's virtually gone into China. Most of the northern areas are gone. England is basically almost underwater right there. There's the northern parts there. Most of Russia is all pushed up out, although it's lost some areas. Here's Africa. Some parts are pushed way up, which was exactly what was shown in the movie 2012. In fact, they actually got in a huge amount of trouble because they plagiarized some other person saying that this one part of Africa was pushed way up, was actually the highest point on the planet. Because normally it's that huge mountain that they almost slammed into, Mount Everest. But no, this part of Africa was pushed way up out of the ocean. And that was actually the highest point on the planet then. And they mention it at the end of the 2012 movie. Most of South America is gone. Have no idea what this is, but it looks like all of this rose back up out of the ocean. If you ever look at old ancient maps, there's a huge area somewhere called Lemuria. If you look at the ancient names that the Anunnaki gave to all of the planets in our solar system, Mars is called Lemur. Kind of makes you wonder, why was that called Lemuria and Mars was called Lemur to the Anunnaki? Have they been here before? Have no idea. Are they coming back? Have no idea. I know Pope Pius XII back in 1955 said he actually spoke with the Anunnaki in person in the Vatican. So did Eisenhower at Holloman Air Force Base. All kept hush-hush. Eisenhower talked with 3 alien races in what's now Edwards Air Force Base, 1954, but that was all hushed up. It was all BS. I don't know, but we're seeing these things in our skies now that don't belong there. They shouldn't be there, but they are there.
It certainly is amazing times that we live in, Bob. I'll tell you, man, it's the Twilight Zone meets Hellraiser meets Outer Limits meets hopefully Flash Gordon, man. We need to get Flash Gordon out here and help save the planet from the evil
Not
Ming.
Flesh Gordon, though. That wasn't.
Would you say Flesh Gordon?
Movie. But yes, Flash Gordon. That was a real nice one done years ago. I think back during the 80s and 90s. That was really cool.
Early 80s, yeah, classic movie. What's interesting? I got to bring this up real quick because if you overlay a picture of Ming, the evil emperor, in the movie Flash Gordon, or if you put that picture of Ming next to Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, they look almost exactly the same.
And they probably were meant to be looking that same. Yeah.
Right.
Here's some of the chemtrails over Pacifica here. They just go for miles. They go from
Those aren't
almost
real,
one.
Bob. That's in your imagination.
I know. You know, I watched it one day. We had a perfectly blue sky starting out in the morning when we get up about 7 o'clock in the morning. And then I'd see one trail after another, after another, after another, after another. One time I counted 9 different trails. And I was actually seeing some of the planes leaving them. And it looked like this after a while. All cloudy, just like that. You couldn't see the blue sky anymore. So what are they spraying up there?
You know what I've also noticed, Bob, is even on a blue sky, a blue, no clouds, blue sky day, there's still this weird haze. It's almost like a silvery, artificial almost, like maybe the night before they sprayed a bunch of stuff, because it doesn't seem like it did 20 years ago.
Okay, I'm going to mention, here is a very high-flying something, leaving 1, 2, 3, 4 trails. Several weeks ago, my wife and I have to drive her to work at 7:30 in the morning. And most of the, when you come out of Pacifica, you have to come up over a huge hill and go down. And you can see a lot of the Bay Area right in front of you going down on 280. You go around the turn, it goes around near City College, and on a normal day, you can see the hills way off in the distance. Recently, they've been chemtrailing the heck out of the entire Bay Area. And it caught my attention because normally you've got the sun right in front of your face, and everyone slows down as they make this one turn because the sun's right in their face. But here are the chemtrails, one after the other, and here's the sun, but here's something to the left of the sun, which I'd never seen before with my own eyes. And the chemtrails were just going right across it, and it looked orangey red in the sky to the left of our sun. I couldn't grab my cell phone fast enough. You got both hands on the wheels when you got everyone slowing down. And even my wife saw it. And the next morning, I had my camera in the car. I have a real nice camera. And I was waiting, one hand on the wheel, the other hand holding the camera. And it wasn't there. There was no chemtrails in the sky either. So either my wife and I saw something that wasn't there, or the chemtrails were hiding it and they turned on their cloaking device, because several mornings since there's been heavy chemtrails, but I can't see anything but the sun. So I don't know what to tell you. I've always wanted to see it. I can't see the thing in my skies here in Pacifica because we're down 50 feet above the ocean. We have the mountains, we have the hills behind us, and we have to climb up to go into the Bay Area. People have seen it in videos behind Sutro's Tower here in San Francisco as a second sun-like object. I can't see it. I haven't seen it. My friend at the airport has seen it one time. My friends out in Livermore has seen it. My friends down in Burlingame have seen it. My friends north of me have seen it, but I can't see it. The gods are denying me to actually see the thing.
They're keeping your third eye closed for now.
I know. My wife knows that when I physically see it with my own eyes, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Because we're 50 feet above the water. Okay? The heavy surf has been tearing up all the cliff sides down here in Pacifica. So, 50 feet above the water, nice. Okay, cool. Nice to fish from, but I'm not going to be here anywhere near that time. And so is everyone else. a couple of my friends on Facebook were warned to get themselves up on Highway 50 near Lake Tahoe when this happens, because the whole area is going to be one massive island. Just as Edgar Cayce supposedly predicted in these maps that you were just looking at. Because when you really enlarge those up, I wish I could get a real nice enlargement, there's a whole bunch of islands going up. Like from Lake Tahoe, everything west of Lake Tahoe is gone. You know, the entire Central Valley of California used to be a huge lake, inland sea, all the way up from Redmond, all the way down to the Grapevine. Used to be about 200 or 300 feet of water, the entire length. Salt Lake City was a huge lake. Death Valley had a huge lake several hundred feet deep in it. Wonder how the water got there in the first place. Because it's all dried up in most places now, where you have this nice valley or huge underground, like Death Valley, it's actually a fissure. The entire area is splitting from one side to the other. It's actually, the ground is actually dropping down. Salt Lake City had an enormous lake right there, or an inland sea. Last time this thing came through was 3,600 something years ago. I wonder how much water it left behind. You already saw the predictions from Edgar Cayce where the water will be now, where it isn't now. Everyone's going to have a huge rocky road. I'm not saying it because, I know these things are not normally seen in our skies. They are an omen. That's the same term that Ipuwer used back during the Exodus, that they were seeing omens in their skies. Omens can either be warnings or blessings. If he saw what we're seeing now in their skies, when they didn't have city lights to blind them by, when they were out there with torches and whatever else, and they could clearly see everything in their skies, has to make you wonder what he actually saw before the destroyer showed up in your skies. And he makes it very clear. They were hearing trumpets in the skies. People around this planet are hearing weird sounds in their skies. Some people are thinking, maybe it does sound like trumpets. Maybe it sounds like something weird. Everywhere around this planet, people are hearing weird things now in the skies, just as they did then.
I wonder if what Steve picked up the other day when he sent up that high altitude balloon, I wonder if that could have been those trumpets.
I don't know. It's hard, when you read these ancient tales, you have to try and decipher what the person meant when they're writing something. And Ipuwer, besides Mosai of China at the same time, was describing it as best as he could. And he gives the most detailed account of what happened then. And if you were to go exactly by his account, all hell's going to break loose. And that was just his account of what was happening in Egypt. We're actually seeing and feeling and hearing things all around our planet that he could never have done then. Mosai of China detailed in his own words what happened then, of the three gods who aligned themselves with one warlord, causing it to be very hot, very cold, rocks falling from the skies for almost 10 days. Ipuwer said this thing was at its highest for 10 days. Two accounts halfway around the planet backing each other up that something was happening. So I don't know. My contact says it's not going to be that bad. A lot of other people say they have alien contacts that have been telling them stuff. The Palladians, there's a bunch of other different names that have been mentioned for these, what's coming. These aliens have almost like Starfleet. You know, yeah, the Klingons are kind of screwing around here, abducting people and doing this and that. But Starfleet says, no, you better not do that again, or we're sending the Enterprise. So they do it on the run, you know, when no one's looking. Eisenhower supposedly signed several treaties with the three original groups. The Nordics that Eisenhower met in 1955 told him not to honor those treaties, that they could not be trusted. Now, where did this interdimensional race called the Etherians come from? I have no idea. But they were accounted for by Gerald Light, who was there with Randolph Hearst and his group. He said they were an interdimensional race. So you had the Greys, you had a reptilian-looking race, and an interdimensional race. Then supposedly, with some kind of other alien planet, we sent 7 or 8 humans to live there. I forgot the exact name of this type of thing. And they sent the same amount of aliens to live here. And I think one Earther died, one wanted to remain there, and the other ones returned. Now, all of the aliens, they all returned to their own home planet. President Ronald Reagan, before the UN, warned, what if we now found out they were there? Everything would come to a halt. You wouldn't be Indian, American, Native American. Well, you probably still would be Native American. English, France, you'd all be Earthers. And probably all of the religions would probably come to a screeching halt. That's why the Vatican several years ago said, God says aliens are real. The Vatican knows that. Now, Pope Pius XII, he was in communication with them all the way up until he died. The new Pope, I forget his name, he wanted to have a little bit of contact, but then he let the Jesuits and the Secret Service from the Vatican. Yes, the Vatican has its own Secret Service. I think it's called SIS or something like that, working with the Jesuits. And he pulled himself away from alien contact. Now, whether any other popes afterward had any alien contact, I've not been able to find anything. Doesn't mean it didn't exist or doesn't exist. Pope Benedict, when he retired, he went on a couple of German radio shows blasting the Jesuits for their alien agenda. Our present Pope, Pope Francis, is a Jesuit. And there's been several books out saying he's going to be the Pope with the first contact. Now, you have to know that if this Earth crustal displacement happens, that each religion is going to have their own hiding spot. That when all the dust settles, they're all going to pop out and they're going to say, we still here. Because no one's going to let the Catholics be in charge of everything. The Muslims are going to try and be in charge of everything. Or the Jewish people are going to be in charge of everything. Or the other faiths that go around this planet. They're all going to pop back out to look for people who remember them or to start all over again. A new world order. And supposedly, hopefully, the aliens will be here, just as the Hopis say. They said that the Star Brothers would come down and dance in an uninitiated plaza and take off their masks. That's first contact, I think.
It certainly could be. And there's, obviously when the Vatican came out a couple years ago and said that they were going to appoint somebody to make first contact, the UN came out and said they were going to appoint somebody to make first contact. There's certainly a lot of stuff pointing to that. And I got to say, Bob, I mean, it's been just awesome having you on the show with us. Every time you come on, you bring out just a plethora of intel, a gourmet buffet of Nibiru doom, Planet X doom. Obviously, because you said we don't have to worry about Nibiru, we got to worry about its moons and its planets. So
I've got a couple of friends here that just walked into the clubhouse and they want to watch TV. So
I'm
that
very quiet.
no.
Perfect timing.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say in closing out tonight, Bob, if you would real quick, pull up that one picture that I sent you. I want to show this to our listeners before we close out, where this was a photograph that I took, or not a photograph, a screenshot that I took from Google Sky Maps a few years ago.
I don't have that one.
I just sent it to you. I sent it to you. It's there. If you just scroll down more. Scroll down the other way there. You'll see it. Keep going.
Okay.
There it is.
There's something right there.
Yep. Click on that.
That one is actually from Google Earth Sky.
Yep.
And the coordinates for that thing right there. You see, it looks like someone took a black marker and went around it.
Is that going to zoom in for us, or is it just taking it a second? Because you can't really see it the way it is. If you can double click it.
See if it pops up. That is where the picture I have from NASA showing the 5 white planets orbiting around nothing. I showed you that image earlier.
Yep, I remember.
That's exactly what that was. It's supposed to be coming up here in
So if they overlaid that right over this picture, that's exactly where those planetary bodies are going to be.
Exactly, because my friend showed me the image before it was done over, like you sent me, and it was all a big white massive thing. And my friend at NASA took all that white stuff away, showing those 5 planets. It doesn't want to show. Oh, they're good. That thing's acting up.
What's it saying?
You have been assimilated by the Borg. You must not show a picture of Planet X. Google is listening.
Almost, yeah, exactly. This same thing was, I've got it somewhere else, but I don't have time. Yes, I do. No, I don't. This image was being shown on Google Earth Sky for 2007. That huge thing looked like someone took a black marker going all the way around it. And the other ones were also showing, there you go.
Bingo. Nanu. Where'd it go?
Yeah,
there it is.
Popped back up, yeah. This is the exact thing where they had covered over it. Sorry about that. There you go. So this was the covering over of all the images in 2007 from every one of the astronomy programs. Google Earth Sky, Microsoft Worldwide Telescope, and about 5 other ones all had the same type of image. Some of them had like a big box cut out over the exact coordinates. It was all kept in. The image I have from this is this. It's a DSS photograph sent to me by my friend at NASA, taken exactly from that image.
Oh, look at
because
that.
the image before that nice big blue thing you found that you saw that your friend sent you, that was from Google Earth Sky. Just before they did that stuff, it was a huge white ball, kind of like a glarish ball. And my friend at NASA cleaned it up. And this is exactly what was underneath that. That's why they did that black markering around that other image, because they didn't want people to see this. And you saw this is the same type of formation that was leaked by NASA in 2009, showing the 6 planets orbiting Nemesis. Planet number 6, Nibiru, couldn't be imaged by NASA because it was coming into our solar system.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, man, that's just some amazing stuff. I'm glad you got people on the inside that have access to this information. And on that note, once again, I'd just like to thank you for coming on the show. Let's get back together here again in a couple of weeks, and that way any new information.
Look at all the new photographs then.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure, Bob. I certainly enjoy speaking with you, and you're, got so many viewers that enjoy what you bring to the table. So also I want to mention your website again, because you've got some great photographs there. Starships Around the Sun, starshipsaroundthesun.com.
Or they can friend me on Facebook, Robert H. Evans Jr.
Beautiful. Well, right on, Robert, man. It was just a pleasure to have you on the show, and be safe.
Oh, yes.
We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Okay, take care.
You too. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.